Paragati parasamgate bodhi swaha. Tayata gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhi swaha. Tayata gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhi swaha.
Samje tamje ko toja lana ma che wa sanje ko ma mo che chine ya to ba cha de che do be chang ju什么 la jang cui xin de nyam zhen lao le xin ko le xin bo le tuo ko tuo le tuo ji xiong ma no wa chi ko tu ga su bo da la be bu shu de ni sam han che.
And so we set our motivation to do whatever we possibly can to attain the peerless state of enlightenment by perfecting all the trainings on the Bodhisattva path. And knowing that to perfect these trainings I need to have a good knowledge of them by studying, and I need to be able to study and gain an understanding based on an unmistaken text and unmistaken presentation. And so it is with this in mind that I am here this morning to listen to an explanation on the graduated path to enlightenment teachings, the quick path to omniscience. Ranga. Thì cảm rồi cái sốc trình đi.
ni tira chikta da tu rapsi kana chikta da de kone machina bazala ni juda kanza sto da da tu rapsi na lo la da kanza chi te ya chi kasa da gsm la ku jo su la ta ye de ba da lian zhe le yi chi ge de ba dan chi ba dong su chu mu so sung de so ma de ye ja ka ti gsm ke ba che she jo da cha ju ge se ba cha wa yin be sa cha ju ge se ba gsm ke ba cha se da chi da chue chi da mo bu chi la yorwada yorda ina da zo janju ge sembe kulu da janju ge semla da kesen ke ba chen ane se janju sembe ane sembe ane asu ye de ba janju ge semla jawa yin be da rani dongeng ge na wa shi do semje tam je dongeng ge na dongeng ge na we semje tam je ran je be tin je ma sha da yi ba ane ma je ba ma je ba ji ja ma je ba 마마 지금 봐. 마제바티 semjere네 야 마탕게 미토바 쳐와. 다 그사나 마 남제리 계서 거디 제바 이네 세디 매치다 팅기 장와다. 진짜 샤다 이 냠도서. 와나 semjen 탐자 동엘레 저 쿠데 술라 바바레스 라바이나 데랑라 바바. 바바레스 바바레데 이네야. 바자 다데 비 semjen게 된 sem제다 탐제게 된다 파샤죠. 다지면 sem제지게 돼야 타치바 제베 이번 민도 대 마세 나라자 마세 자주바 니지 공부 톱자 심지가 된 예세와면도 심지 탑제 양다고 저 산제 공부하러 거베 뉴버민도 매 대대베 뉴버수라 요보다 양다고 저 산제로 유베 다제 마심제 탑 저거도 양다고 저 산제 공부하러 진짜 토바자 냐도 자주가 심라 녀마 되어봐도 동동도 공부자스.
So just to review slightly that in order to really set up where we have arrived at the visualization of the refuge merit field, there's this kind of like thought process of really understanding why we're doing so, and generating the kind of a special mind of enlightenment to try and generate that sense of an experiential state of bodhicitta. And so here, like when we're talking about the ways in which one can say the generation of merit generation of virtue, for example, through generosity, through having this kind of lucid faith in the triple gem, through one's conviction in the law of cause and effect, and all of the perfections from generosity up to ethical conduct and so on, and that here, but in particular in this particular instance, what is being emphasized here is the exceptional mind of virtue through the generation of the mind of enlightenment itself, bodhicitta. And so this requires us then to really set that up by really coming to reflect on the tormented suffering of sentient beings, and this starts with really recognizing that I myself am tormented by that suffering, and that just in the same way as I am, also all other sentient beings are likewise. We're all in the same boat, as it were, experiencing such a terrible suffering. And these sentient beings, likewise, these sentient beings who are undergoing such tormented suffering, are my kind mother sentient beings. They have acted in the role of mother for me, and that they have done that. There's no one who hasn't acted in that role, and they have acted in that role of mother, of principal carer for me countless times, and they have done so with the same degree of intensive love and care and fondness as my mother in this life has. And so in this way I should really reflect on the tremendous kindness of how these mother sentient beings have cared for me. And that here we must be able to see that who has the responsibility to actually free them then from that suffering, because they are in that state of tormented suffering, and it must reach that point where you realize it's my responsibility to free them from that suffering. Unfortunately, I can really forget about trying to free all sentient beings from suffering, but I can't even do that for one sentient being. I can't bring one sentient being to fulfill their ultimate goal now, because I haven't fulfilled my own potential. And I know that even if I attain the state of an arhat, reach that state, that I can only partially really help sentient beings, and that really, unless I am able to attain the complete state of enlightenment, I will not be able to fulfill this goal. And that therefore I have to aim, in order to benefit all sentient beings, to attain that state of complete enlightenment, because only from that point, only from that state, I can have the potential to really benefit all sentient beings. And so therefore that's where I set my sights, and I need to have to kind of like generate that sense of inspiration to attain the state of enlightenment, until it reaches that point of a personal experiential state of mind, that it's kind of like going to really matter in my life from here on in.
어디다 간제 지금 심제디 가서다 녀마 된거 봐도 아니 배 동동도 고버차다 뒤주 가서 고아이네 뒤주 땅제 디셈디 가서 숙청부 뉴바체 다 중나다 주마마이 봐 마존에 주마 속에 임바 이네 간투도 그다 지금 나다 때만 미바다 때만 어디에 저나 다 개와 간제 오메도 상기 줄을 줘대 중으로 때네 임바서 왔다 때네 동동도 고버차 심제디 심병안에 아니 담도 자수네 스타 담도 자수네.
And so really this is not sort of a mind or a practice that can be isolated into a particular session of practice, but something that is with us, that is kind of like really trying to reflecting on constantly, that we are setting like really it's kind of our very life force itself to generate this sense of attainment, and must attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, and that to really blend that with everything that we are thinking, everything that we are doing. And so it is from this sense of the generation, from that mind frame of bodhicitta that we then go for a refuge.
다 semje de siben가네 다 잠도 잡수도스는 잡수도스는 다 랑게 dwi게 태타게 아니 남게 유수 생게 전부 제게 되베 르보체 치토시 양배다가 아니 나서 배마 다와 님의 진고제 되라 대라서 코다 코라게 다 수랑게 아니 진짜 자외 라마 임발라 나봐 자와샤제 두바 아니 가서 고세도 세소마다고 오수도 대마샤지 차니 예산에 예냠샤게 되는 두세가 로세 넘바 kula churu mumega dochon soa an tsebe jebe tansa wege ranchicha kule jebe wege pumbu wena shamne dochi kinjoku shuba asa wata dedachi kumbashe.
And so then from that, within that mind state, we begin the practice, the session of going for a refuge, and this begins with the visualization of the refuge merit field. And so in the space in front of us, directly ahead, we visualize a very high and very large precious throne, which is supported and held up by 8 great snow lions, and that on top is this very broad multicolored lotus, moon and sun disc, and that sitting on that is my own kind root lama, root guru, in the aspect of the conqueror Shakyamuni Buddha, and that the Buddha's body is the color of burnished gold. He has a nushnish on the crown. He has one face, 2 hands, with the right hand in the earth-touching mudra, and the left hand in the meditative equipoise mudra, holding an alms bowl filled with nectar. He is wearing the saffron robes of a monk. He is emblazoned with all the major and minor marks of a fully enlightened Buddha, and that his body is in the nature of clear light. Within that kind of halo of light, we see that he is sitting in the Vajra posture.
다 데니게 타고다 데니게 다 저게 도바투베 온베 타고도 다 뭐다 규베게 라마이 담 산제 장세 포 컨트롤 주조스로 추가주 거래 슈바스텐데서 대다라는게 될라 아니 데디 푸소 소바 요발라 라르게 숨베 아니 롱게 쳬나 여기라신게 부디나와 유되겠지 요같이.
And then encircling the main figure of Shakyamuni Buddha, who is representative of our own root guru, we see our own direct and lineage gurus, and then following that the meditational deities, and then the Buddhas, then the Bodhisattvas, and then the Dakas and Dakinis and the Dharma protectors. The whole assembly of all these are encircling the main figure, and then in front of each of them, then there also is a very perfectly made table on which sits all the scriptures that are connected with each of the particular members of the merit field, and that the table and the scriptures themselves are in nature of clear light. And so also we can in our minds understand that these texts that are in the nature of light, that they are all the great sort of the whole canon of such great universities as the great ancient monastic university of Nalanda and Kamalashila, and the great pandits who have not only disseminated the teachings, but have collated all the teachings of the Buddha, organized them, and indeed very much it is the teachings that we rely on today are traced back to the clarifications and so on, and the compositions that were done at that time. So we can imagine that all these texts are going back and have that kind of pure lineage.
민자와는 배치가 가서다 다가지 산지게 때마다 편도 지게 다 된지 기부 장리 되고 중요해요. 다 되게 건가 마사와 매고 유섬사지지.
And then and within amongst all those texts, of course, are all the other great texts that have been composed by holy beings down through the eras since that time, since the Buddha's own time as well, and that right till now. That have been of benefit to so many sentient beings.
남주 대화 대담 야고 매긴 게 심제 라소바타 도와리 두고 심제 탐제 대다 탐제장 다 지금 가서를 리주소소 동에 나시 뭐야 남바 민나시 남주 이게 아니 되게 가서도 초신 대다라 아니 지금 대화다 매바다 이제 유에 되게 어디는지 어디는 레디오 차트겠지 어디는지 고마시.
And so that we visualize, of course, that we ourselves here who visualizing this merit field are also surrounded by our loved ones, our parents, our relatives, our friends, those who we engage with on a regular basis, but also those who we are friendly with, those who we are not on good terms with, those who we dislike and who dislike us, that they are those who are neutral, that all indeed sentient beings are surrounding us, involved in this, and that as a result of our supplicating and visualizing the merit field in this way, that the merit field looks upon all of us with great love and great affection, and that from our point that we have generated from realizing the incredible qualities of the members of the merit field, this sense of faith and great love in their kindness. And that we really reflect on that and reflect on this kind of a mutual sense of appreciation there. And we kind of reflect on the merit field with this sense of, indeed all of us with the sense of this faith, this conviction, like we have the manifest faith, or the faith of lucid faith, and the faith of conviction, of really having this sense of understanding of the qualities of the merit field and trust in their efficacy, and also that we have this tremendous sense of this common purpose of really thinking how wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were free from suffering and the causes of suffering in the course of developing compassion, for example. How wonderful that would be. May it be the case, I will be the one who really will do this, and in treating the merit field, please bless me so that I may be able to actually achieve this for sentient beings.
다 소신 대남자 다 소신 대다대자 라니라사 게베츠다 라니자 소신 대나게 연대다 투제 제베 대바치도 가냐서 대다사바차대.
And so that with our visualization of the merit field and trying to inspire ourselves in this way, the merit field looks on us with great love, great affection, and that we really reflect on the wonderful, with faith, with tremendous faith, on the great qualities and compassion evident in the members of the merit field.
진짜 되네지 공부시도네 야고 이거 다들 디날데 세가 문도데 이내야 다 지가서래 흉체대 먹보다는 용거래 다 그저 초신 대다게 지오 점바 투가 혼 삼부터 아니 투가 혼래 왜세 빠도 매버 트네 아니 초주 아니 지가 다 산적이 신거다 산적의 시대 되와네 아니 산적의 시대 아니 20바 젠장 아니 소신 대다리 20바 무슨 수수 삼사체 어떤데 공부하시나 야구여 어떤데 체
And also that though
담지 바로 와서 가라서 미바 경우여 봐 다들 담지 바들라 20바 슈네 20바 대 두가를 왜세 트네 아니 초주에 아니 그래서 다 산적의 시대 아니 20바 무슨 젠장자 아니 대라 팀부처네 어떤 공부하시나
And so again, not mentioned here is not clear in this text, but in many other texts, it says that also at this point it can be very effective to visualize, countless rays of light emanating from the heart centers of all the members of the merit field, which go to the Buddha fields, and they invite the wisdom beings from those natural abodes to come and then dissolve into all the members of the merit fields who we are visualizing as the pledge beings. So the wisdom beings dissolve into the pledge beings that we are visualizing. And so that allows us then to really gain a tremendous extra confidence in the fact that the beings that we are visualizing in the merit field are actually all these enlightened beings, really enlightened beings there in front of us.
투그 맞자고 요마 투그 가자로 꾸이 쳐버려. 레데 이내 가서 내 당보가 저기 산제 이내 젠타와다 아니 대셔서 가라도 양쪽 저기 대바다 이체다 뒤바다 도스미다 용이 줘봐.
So that whether or not we are inviting the wisdom beings from their natural abodes in the Buddha realms, in the Buddha fields, is moot because the Buddhas that we are visualizing are there anyway, whether or not we go through this particular process or step of inviting the wisdom beings. And this is because, of course, the Buddha's has the omniscient mind, and where that means that mind is everywhere, and where the mind is of an enlightened being, there also is the physical form, the body of an enlightened being. And so therefore, that when we think of a Buddha there, the Buddha is there physically as well. And so, however, from the point of view of our faith and our conviction, and to aid as an aid or as an assist to our particular practice, we can use this step of inviting the wisdom beings from their natural abode to absorb into the pledge beings in the merit field that we are visualizing, and therefore giving us more assurance, more confidence that, wow, yes, all the members of the actual merit field are really, really present.
다 소신나 라니라 개베주다 라니가 소신이 연대나 제대 투제 제베 대바 침병하는 대달사바자대서 오다 대달사바자다 다 단다데 잠주 임보 인사 잠주라 균이 창고도 균이 창고다 제 가서래 직바다 껴베 리바이 완니데 창고로 왔다 디니 균이 가서 비다고 저게 아니 잠주도 비다가 연구여래 균이 야보라면은 잠주대 야보라면 괜찮으래 오다 되네 맞아 균 창고여 어디지
So this sense of, on the one hand, faith from our side, and the confidence in the kind of qualities of the merit field is very, very important in the context of refuge, because for refuge to be genuine and to be effective, it has to have two specific causes. And the first of these is a sense of true anxiety with regard to the sufferings that we are and may suffer in the future, and then also faith and trust that the triple gem, for example, or the merit field, have the capacity to protect us from that suffering. And so without those two causes, we can't be said to have a real, a proper, genuine refuge.
다 근데 점유 뉴베 이치다 다 근데 그 좀전 쉐베게 이치 고도마다 야 몽데라고 멤버체 좀전 쉐베 이치.
And so that this faith or this confidence, this conviction in the efficacy of the refuge process in the merit field is based on reasoning. It has to be based on reasoning. It isn't something that is simply blind faith.
고물루도 계서 레레자수 시베 하와이 오마토데 단도 소소이 기비 제소 장배 코아베 대외 체망 니지 동찰로 서거든 점.
And so this is supported by several quotes, the first coming from the protector Arya Nagarjuna, who says, "Every being has already suckled more than 4 oceans worth of milk. In the future, every ordinary being in samsara will drink far more than this."
단단하게 나서 밀류 레제네 되네 다지 가서 다 고지 쪼네 코안에 다 깨모고 규지 좀 하도 봐이나 단데 못에 들려 말 두고 그래 수고여라 어디르자 파발해자 동에 자서 대외다 나바고도 예미나 지주에 되네 지와라 지버지네 깨미줄스 셰송스.
And so that means really, as born as a human being, if one is not able to really work at really establishing the causes that lead to liberation from this state, this cyclic existence, then we are doomed to have to experience the same sort of suffering and torment again and again. And then follows a quote from Master Arya Deva, where he says, "The ocean of suffering has no end at all. While drowning here in samsara, child, why do you not have any fear?"
ane pena ngazo tsedila dunga chimbeju chunga yinba yina ta ngose tubi dunga chimbeju na ngazo meso wachene maki wachene dedegi yore ta kowa dine tawa je majo na gadu yine dunga dil jawa da dile maa yonga yinba de ta ko ta chuni rwa rangshin rwa ta dinde yinba za ta dile jikba kene ta dunga dila tawe ta meba yina ko sudab yomar ko ta meba ko samudan cho yomar tab ju yoba yina ene tabde maase bachene gokhone dewa ta mune ne jibaran chabaroda.
And so really what Arya Deva is saying, that when you really understand cyclic existence well, you understand that it's in the nature of suffering, then to have you really have there's no choice but to have some sense of fear, some sense of anxiety about that. One can't get away from that. We want happiness, isn't it? That's a fundamental desire, and we don't want suffering. But even like now, if we can't bear even a slight, brief disturbance, discomfort, or suffering, think about having to stay in cyclic existence. And as long as we don't attain liberation from cyclic existence, we're always going to be prone to suffering, which is not just slight and brief, but far greater than that. And so it's only natural that one should feel, when one knows, a sense of real anxiety and fear with regard to the suffering of cyclic existence. But also it's saying that if we reflect like that and reach that conclusion, and that there was nothing that we could do about it, then that would be truly disastrous. But there is something that we can do about it. And so the fear should prompt us to actually take action and to do something to rectify that situation. And so it's saying really that, why do you think you are wise when you don't feel dread, fear, terror enough to make the hair stand on end If you don't have any fear, you are merely a child. It said even less than a child, even more, dull than a child. So really, it's saying, that no matter how worldly we are, how well, how wonderful a modern education we may have, that without really understanding how this reality of cyclic existence operates, what its actually true nature is, then we're kind of living in this constant state of self-deception, where we're kind of have this sort of idea that we're some sort of expert on the world, that we have it made, where we're only creating negative causes for our own misery in the future. And so it's kind of like, really, you're going around with your eyes closed, as it were, when you don't have that understanding of cyclic existence. And it doesn't matter how well educated you are. And so when we talk about education, and that this regards really education whether we have it or not, that that whatever we assimilate in this life, we should be able to use it for the long-term establishment of happiness and contentment, and the long-term eradication of suffering. And that's this is what real kind of education should be about. And so that in this world, to be really concerned about matters of how far away the sun is, what is the nature of life on other planets, or how deep the ocean is, these facts aren't really in any way connected to establishing happiness for the beings on this planet, are they? One has to actually get at the heart of the issue to find out, okay, what are the causes that bring about happiness? What are the causes that I must eradicate in order to abandon suffering? This is what really matters. And the one who understands this is the really educated one, is the real kind of master of this world. So this constant emphasis on understanding the external matter of the world, that to gain countless pieces of discrete information about that doesn't really lead to happiness, doesn't lead to the eradication of suffering. And even though it might bring some sort of temporary benefit, it isn't concerned even in its objective into establishing a permanent state of happiness, true happiness, and eradicating suffering, because that is an internal investigative matter. That's the subject matter of that is in our own mind stream. And if we have the control of that mind stream, then we have the power of happiness in our own lives. If we don't have control of that mind stream, then we can't be said to have any business to control happiness and the kind of cascade of suffering that we are bound to experience. And so we have to understand that.
제가 산지게 때문에 제til 나는 코에 동에 타다 보면 타와초 양다 보서 산지에 고마 시다 다다니네 토바 치고도 스티 맞아봐나 나야 제일 코하다 개방이 소소고 등을 지르면 명거도 내가 이제 동네 대다를 교배 뉴바도 수라도서 수라 요바나 뉴바도 수라도서나 라마 군조 수라 요배 다지 마스죠 타죠 저거 산지에 고마 토바 아참
And so, therefore, we have to take into consideration that, since beginningless time, both myself and all mother sentient beings have already experienced the sufferings in general of cyclic existence, and in particular, the countless sufferings of the three lower realms. And that still we must admit that the suffering itself is something which is very deep and difficult to fathom, and that now I have found something which is very difficult to find, namely this precious human rebirth of favorable conditions and opportunity. And not only that, but I have also met with that which is difficult to find, the Buddha's teachings, the precious teachings. And that here I need to be able to use those conditions, really right now, to really work at being able to establish the state of Buddhahood, the full state of Buddhahood, the complete liberation which abandons all suffering of cyclic existence. And that it's really important for me to see that this is the opportunity I have now, because if I do not take that opportunity, I will only have to experience again and again the general sufferings of cyclic existence, and in particular the sufferings of the three lower realms. And so with that in mind, I have this visualization of the refuge merit field in front of me, and I really see that they have the capacity to protect me from this suffering. And therefore, I in front of the supreme triple gem and the Guru, I make this pledge, and that I will do whatever I can to attain the state of enlightenment for the benefit of myself and all mother sentient beings. And for this reason, this is the reason for seeing that the Guru as the embodiment of the triple gem, I will go for refuge to the Guru. And so this brings to mind the sense of the fear of cyclic existence and the triple gem, or the three lower realms, and the faith and conviction and trust, and that the that reliance on the triple gem can really protect us from that fear.
아니 되네 라마라 잡다 간제 지금 근데 잠도 제버이나 라마라 잡 사이 쇼를 긴들을 잡소서 다 간제 지금 라마도 산제나를 두고 요때 얘네 믹스게 라마라 잡소서서 봐 믹스게 다지 가소라 다지 저래 다 간제 지금 야 믹스게 다야 지금 가소라다 지금 내가 줬다 내가 요 어디 이내다 구조성도 마디와 말이 라마 산제 콘을 야 뒤에 삼로탄다지 연구요때 이내다 다 라마라 잡수 왔다 그제 저저 수도 되지 믹스기 디제도 라마라 잡수 쳤어 셰베 잠돌 내 자자 가서 라마 자자 개가면 사 예지감 마타야 숨라 소바사 데뷔 사 라한다 랑게스 타고는 데베 심지어 탐적을 줘봤었네 강조되어서 다가 지금 다 자다 게스 동기나래 아니 니슈작지 동기나 차숨 동기 다 가제 랑 뒤줄을 봐봐 삼로 단전에 다 가제 디다 되자 랑다랑 저 심지어 탐적 냠도 아니 송구요 삼사죠 어떤 죠
And so we begin here with the repetition of the line of I go for refuge to the Guru. And of course, we go for refuge in refuge. Normally, we go for refuge to the Buddha, we go for refuge to the Dharma, we go for refuge to the Sangha. And here, the Guru is seen as the embodiment of all three of the triple gem, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And so there's actually said to be very great extra significance in going for refuge to the Guru also individually. And that so here, we recite, I go for refuge to the Guru, I go for refuge to the Guru. And this is now in the context of the merit field in front of us, and the also all surrounded by all sentient beings, and we're all reciting together. And it's said that one can recite, I go for refuge to the Guru, 108 times, or 21 times, or at least 3 times. And it just depends on how much time you have to be able to get into this part of the refuge. And so that now this of course is apart from if you're actually doing refuge practices as part of your preliminary practices, then at this point you would recite, I go for refuge to the Guru, I go for refuge to the Guru, I go for refuge to the Guru, possibly several malas, and then you go for refuge to the Buddha, and so on, and you go through refuge like that, several hundred times, for each object of refuge.
다 뒤에 가서 미관에서 다 미관 조에 되다 라마 투배 라마 하사 투배 온보다 라마 투배 온배 타고 그래서 뭐다 주배 라마한테 아니 구이 차려다 뭐다 아니 다 라기 주배 라마다 즉 산제 라마 투바도 다 주배 라마 탐책에 구이 차려 두제나가 외세대 집에 규인법수 섭사체 규인법네 다 라다 다 랑게 타고 니버 심제 탐제제 아니 류셀마 쇼수 섭사체 쇼알라 때네 다 그저 토마메바나 사베 디과 탐제 디과 근데 사유가 있네 다 라체제나 다지 말이 같아 바자도 제가 그저 디온게 다 그저 디과 근데 사유가 다다 케바도 라마라 때네 사베 아니 디과도 디과디가 가서 다 그저 저 라마라 때베 아니 저 라메 꿀로 또봐 라마라 찍고서 구슬을 내가 계타오 아니 다 라메 저 냐메 디치디 집안에 대 송자봐 다 그저 아니 라메게 아니 그저도 투투바 로다 라마 로파묘에 되는 투파미에 되는 제가 투투바 아니 라마를 지금 맞대봤대 아니 다가니세 라마를 닦아서 녀메지에 통중지에 라소바 또나 라마를 때문에 디과 탐제 아니 두고도 수군 넘버 도와된대 내졌다 아니 솔라 코아다는 콜스게 두고도 수군 넘버 아니 엄벽과다 봤다 랑이 이거 여자다는 봐 나니 마 되는지 삼세는 부가다 부가들 법이 부가들 탐제는 치토버 삼자 오다 다수 삼자 대야 빼나 가서 캔서 라서 텔 메라 텔와 라 출루거나 텔 정도 좋아다 다가 저기 텔라 데델라 추말루도 매버져서 야나 가서 민반 나고 데델라 가서 드메 빠나다가 저 가서 한번 나고 로바잖아 그가 다 저거서 나고 매버쳐도 와다 가자 다디 누가 저 차도 소로도 또 가서 좋았다고 니래서 치마대 톱치와 겨 어서버 집을 셔와 셔베 라마라 때문에 뒤에 탐제 장세 다대해서 자 세다 손은 연대 가서 롱도가 연대는 패신 개와 중수 선서 어디에 고바시자 다가 이제 지금 다 거저 다다데 다 디발다 도도 딜레 누가 차도 로와 로지 빠시도 가만한 거 다지 나군 그가 매버 차도 오다 되지 경그 차 딱 라마라 때문에 디바 저거 차장 장수 삼사자 바차다 제가 장수 삼사자 어디에 고바시기나 납치 부유 그래 어디에 저
And so then, as a result of our reciting like this, together with all other sentient beings, then we have the visualization that goes along with this recitation. And so here we take in the entire refuge merit field, beginning with the main central figure of the Lord of Lord of Sages, and in the form of Shakyamuni Buddha, our own guru. And that, and then also surrounding all of the direct and lineage lamas and all the Buddhas, etc., that are all surrounding our own that the central figure in the merit field. They start to emanate from their heart centers, from their bodies, the 5 colored nectar lights, and that this starts the process of this cascading of all these nectar lights from the merit field, and they enter into the body and mind of myself and all others, all the sentient beings all around me, and that such that immediately all of the negativities and obscurations that we have accumulated since beginningless time, and in particular all of the faults or negativities that we have accumulated in relation to our gurus, are cleansed and purified. And these can be such as endangering the glorious Lama's body, or disobeying the Lama's speech, or disturbing the Lama's mind, or through a loss of faith, or disparaging the Guru, insulting the Guru, backbiting, and so on. And in short, any negativity or obscuration that we have accumulated in relating to the Guru.
제 당가 좀보다 서로 토마매바냐 다 지금 싸바 정도로 라마를 때문에 그 사이나 어디 그거 자고.
And this is not just in this life, but indeed all lives since beginningless time, and that all of this then is kind of cleansed from our body, mind continuum, and all other sentient beings, and it actually, you visualize that it comes out through the doors of our senses and through the pores of our skin in the form of soot, coal soot, smoke, tar, that it is, and we feel this sense of being completely cleansed and purified. And the examples are given here from the great Panchen Lama Ensapa, Conqueror Ensapa, where he says they can vanish, just like when you pour water over ashes or soot on a hot fire, or when you, in pitch darkness, you lift up a very bright lamp and the darkness disappears without a trace. Again, I'm saying it's like you turn on the light in a house, the star, and it's completely, darkness is completely gone, and then you are left with this pure light. And according to the great Ensapa, the second example, that one of switching the light or diminishing or dispelling the darkness, is the more powerful, more effective example to use. And so, in short then, so on the basis of that process of the visualization through the colored nectar lights, absorbing all of the negativities and obscurations that we have accumulated in relation to our Guru, are cleansed and purified. But not only that, then we are now also endowed with the conducive conditions for practice, such as long life, such as merit, such as an increase and flourishing of our qualities of scriptural learning and realization, and that this is something that is going to really benefit our practice. And that also, in relation to the negativities that are accumulated too, we think that not only those in relation to the Guru, but also our self-cherishing, our self-grasping, and the imprints of those negativities are also purified and come out in the form of that coal and tar and soot and so on.
개발 말씀 개발 반대라면 구조도가 지라 판자 라자 심자 탐제자는 루셈라 마쇼수 섭섭다 다 쇼가라 때네 반대라면 아니 잡어도 추바 중소사다 반대라면 잡어도 추소 추바 중소다 산제가 마도 산제가 보마 마도 봐도 제 스타 송아지 중소 섭섭자는 가와고 뭐들죠.
And so then to conclude this section of the refuge practice and visualizing the merit field, that we feel that yes, all of our qualities increase and flourish, and that in particular also we have ourselves and all sentient beings feel that we have the body, the blessings of the Guru's body, speech and mind entering into our bodies and minds, and that we feel that we have been admitted into the refuge of the glorious Lama, and that we will be cared for until we attain the state of enlightenment, and that's something that we can rejoice over.
Then Sanjala Jobs just Sanjala Jota, the Ejibajata, Jabro Saje, Nata, Lamara Jobs, then Sanjala Jota, Sanjala Jobs, Chesata, and Chikasoda, Rota, because of the Chir Kavan Yasu to me, Nasula Samota, Dele Tabach Mato, Tamu something what in the channel, and Dele Tabe, Tabata, Jablo Kujosula Yovata water. 이제다 잠도 주창을 시바토네 아니 산제라 잡수 산제라 잡수 산제다 그 자동 가서 사기는 어디를 사 마탈려 숨게 봐도 사 어쩌자 저 산제라 잡수 쳐 가마주 뒤에 가서 미관에서 다 가자 미관에 아니 미관에 사 자와 도지 창게 타고 게는 다 같이 저 산대 지숨 자와 도지 창 타고 아니 산대 지숨 게도 뒤고라 소베 다 같이 저 뒤고 계산 그 산제 동 다가지 제 다가지 자주 주주 내주주 라메 주다 주대시 기고라서 용서 어느 계산 그 산제 동 산제 어서 동자 산제 수주 송알라 소베 꿀래 꿀라 다 꿀라 녀석을 찾주와 아니 두개 대 최대 시바 라소베서 도나 산제 라사 아니 잡소 소야사 잡주 랍자다 기회는 직접 바차의 자신 다만 중소서도 어제 다가제 산제라 때문에 다 지금 배나 처럼들은 처럼가만 나라야 지금 가서도 산제라 때문에 뒤만 뭐 요청을했다 요청으로 왔다 어디를 쳤다 왔다 그랬죠 어떻게 돼요 되게 가서다 마다와 중소서 되게 다시 장치다 류다서 왜그 하셔도 중소서 섭섭죠 어쩌죠 다 도마면 뒤바지다 개봐도 아니면 산제라 때문에 뒤바디가 봐 다소 소소 어디죠? 잡을 납자도 걔네 사제 구조라 때문에 뒤바디가 다소 섭섭죠 어쩌죠.
And so then the next section of going for refuge is to go for refuge in the Buddha. And so here we again recite, I go for refuge in the Buddha, I go for refuge in the Buddha. And this is really again reflecting on the fact that, on the fear of the general sufferings of cyclic existence, and in particular the sufferings of the three lower realms, and also having this conviction and trust that the Buddha, and as are all the members of the merit field, have the ability to protect us from that suffering. We go with confidence to refuge in the Buddha, and so I say, I go for refuge to the Buddha, I go for refuge to the Buddha, I go for refuge to the Buddha, and that here And we can again say that 108 times, 21 times, at least 3 times. And also we're also thinking, of all the as a result of going for refuge to the Buddha. And here, when we say that, we're visualizing in the refuge merit field the figure of Shakyamuni Buddha, of course, but also the conqueror of Vajradhara, and surrounding Vajradhara are all of the tantric deities such as Guhya Samaja, Chakrasamvara, Yamantaka, Hevajra, Kalachakra, and that then the Buddhas of this fortunate eon, the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon, groups such as the 35 Buddhas of confession, and that we are also really aware of the kinds of negativities that we may have accumulated in relation to the Buddhas, such as with a negative mind, drawing blood from the body of a Buddha, or destroying stupas, which represent the shrines of the Buddha's mind, and that and all those kinds of negativities, and that here any sort of action contrary to the refuge precepts in relation to going for refuge to the Buddha, that we have engaged in all the negativities and obscurations. Yes, and so that might mean also, like maybe regarding the Buddha's statue as some sort of merchandise to sell, something like that. This is also, going against the refuge of precepts in relation to the Buddha. And so any sort of negativity and obscuration that we've accumulated, that we feel that they are completely purified, and we are aware of this, not just in terms of this life, but of course all our previous lives, that we have definitely engaged in negativities like this. So we're counting all of those that we're purifying, and we feel that they are cleansed and that they are purified. And then our own body actually transforms into the body of natural clear light. And of course too, we are simply seeing ourselves as representing all of the kind Mother sentient beings who are surrounding us, and also their negativities done in relation to the Buddha jewel are also considered, and they will include any of the the kind of like heinous crimes, like we say, of with a malicious intent, drawing blood from the body of a Buddha, destroying stupas, etc. And that all of these are taken into account as we purify, and again, of course, this is through the descending nectar light process as well that this happens. And so then, including in terms of, the guru, going back to going for refuge to the guru as well, that, those of, for political reasons, criticizing His Holiness, such as those practitioners of Shugden and so on, but also the leaders in China, who constantly disparage and criticize His Holiness. These are very, very serious and heavy negativities. These also are purified. And we feel that, we're representative of all this, and that these negativities can be purified, because of course if the causes are accumulated, and then the results can only mean great suffering in the future. And so that here we feel that we can somehow have some sort of effect in that way through our genuine and really true refuge, going for refuge to the Guru and going for refuge to the Buddha. And so this relies, of course, on the degree of compassion that we have, and that cannot be anger. Anger is no benefit at all in this regard, because that's only creating negativities for ourselves. And so it's with compassion that we go for refuge, and to try to make this effective, a positive effect.
Martial Yata, the Cultural Revolution, that Tibakala Taku, Katata, Kombaka, the Shibuchur, and the Maraza Hakwe and Afghanistan, the Sanjay Kutoria, the Mamuchuswa. That Jagada, Yamana Linda, this Dobaro. Dobaro, Takaja, the dig that Tibasaka, that Tali de Vajor, that Tigan, Tibasa, the Machaku, your substitute.
And so that, even the mention of drawing blood from the body of a Buddha. But of course, there's destroying Buddhas as well, the statues and so on of the Buddha. And that, we can, only have to think back to very recent times, like in the Cultural Revolution in Tibet, how many, in China also, how many statues were completely destroyed and melted down. And completely destroyed, or even a few years ago, the great Buddhas of Bamiyan that were destroyed in Afghanistan, and that of course in ancient times when the northern India was overrun, that how much destruction took place in the great monastic institutions like Nalanda and Vikramalashila, etc. So those who created those negativities, they created very, very serious negativities that, and the implications are still very relevant. So we count, and they're countless as well. So we count them in this purification, in this cleansing of negativities and obscurations. So we have to really consider that in the course of events, that those who have created such negativities may already be experiencing the torment of the hell realms, and so compassion is the only response, and so that's what promotes us to engage in this purification and cleansing.
Chairman Mao Chashawina, that Tiwa Kazasar, Koran, Yason Dunga Yondia. In a dark Koran party, Janalape, Kushab, she would Kushab, Miguel Yason, Manuel Pantomodo.
And so, if you look at, say, even from an objective point of view, looking at the life of Chairman Mao, who really engaged in such horrendous negativities, that would have led inevitably to a rebirth in the lower realms, where he is now undergoing tremendous suffering. Even at the same time being held in such great respect by the Communist Party members. Of course, that respect is, irrelevant, isn't it? When he's actually experiencing the suffering of the lower realms, is really not really doing any good. Pointless, no benefit.
Nothing benefit. Yeah,
and so that the only benefit that can come in a situation is when somebody is actually encountering suffering, and you can actually directly benefit in that way, isn't it? So in this case, and indeed, yes, and so many people are actually inadvertently creating great negativities for themselves, because they're rejoicing in fact the great negative actions that were created by Chairman Mao himself. So that we include all those great negativity accumulators, such as Hitler, etc., and many others, and that they are all included in this process of purification. And so then we reflect that this process of purification has been extremely successful. The body transforms into the nature of clear light. We're endowed with all the conducive conditions such as long life, merit, and an increase and kind of like a flourishing of the understanding of qualities of scriptural understanding and realization, and that we have in particular ourselves and all sentient beings we have been blessed by the triple gem, the Buddha jewel, and that this enters into our body and mind, and we feel that we have been admitted into the refuge of the Buddha jewel. And so the next comes, of course, our going for refuge in the Dharma. So again, we recite the multiple times. I go for refuge in the Dharma. I go for refuge in the Dharma. I go for refuge in the Dharma. And again, in the context of doing a refuge as a preliminary practice, and here we're talking about, for example, doing refuge 100,000 times. And so this means you take each object of refuge. So I go for refuge in the Guru. You do that 100,000 times. I go for refuge in the Buddha. I go for 100,000 times. I go for refuge in the Dharma 100,000 times. And I go for refuge in the Sangha 100,000 times. And so this might mean you, in each session, you would aim to really go for refuge to each object of the refuge of refuge, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 times.
다 주먹을 내다 타야 봐줘다. 타야 봐지. 앞에나랑 그 소다가 동바 켈레나 마소나. 김에 동바 켈레나 김에 동바 따다 마소는 주먹 차도 그래요. 주먹 말아 봐. 다고 타라 타야 봐주고 타야 봐지. 다 겨와 같이 매와다 렌데 매와다. 아니 지금 가서도 다 되게 되지도 다 주먹 차도 와. 차도 다 가서 주먹에서 뱉다 시고 타야 봐도. 최 켈링거 여와이네. 최 켈링거 여와이네. 랑게 켈렘 담도 야부 마소는 주먹 차도 그래. 그러다 시고도 왔다. 주먹을 내 잡아본 거 잡아.
So I go for refuge in the Dharma, I go for refuge in the Dharma, and that here the visualization is as follows, that you say that in particular, sorry, in general, from the whole merit field, and in particular from the objects of refuge, you will see that in front of each of the objects of refuge there are texts, and that these texts then are kind of emanate from these texts. The descending nectar light, 5 colors, and that this really descends, this really cascades down and enters into the body and mind of ourselves and all sentient beings, and that all the negativities and obscurations that we have accumulated since beginning as time in general, and in particular all the obscurations that we have and negativities that we have accumulated by what's known as forsaking the Dharma. And this is a very, very vast, a very, very subtle and a very, very profound way, a common way of accumulating negativities. And that this can, happen, for example, if we take an empowerment and then we don't follow up by our practice, we don't keep our precepts, we break our samayas. This is forsaking the Dharma. And that when we are also take empowerment, we make a very intense pledge to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, and that then, of course, proscribes any kind of bias that we might have thereafter. If we start to say, this is mine, that's yours, or I believe in this, you believe in that, blah blah blah, and you make kind of distinctions, you make biased judgments. This is forsaking the Dharma, because it goes against what you have already pledged in the empowerment, and that's here. And this, of course, goes to the heart of tantric practice, which is that we are trying to put a stop to all ordinary appearance, and that anytime you adhere to ordinary appearance, therefore you're actually forsaking the Dharma. And so we have to be extremely careful with regard to this particular way of accumulating negativity, because it's kind of continuous and it's limitless, and it's actually falls like torrential rain in our lives. And so here, this is something that we have to be aware of. And that even if we take something like the Pratimoksha vows, but don't keep those vows, that's forsaking the Dharma also. If we don't believe in past and future lives, if we don't accept the law of cause and effect, and this is all ways of forsaking the Dharma. Bodhisattva vows, tantric vows, there's so many ways in which we can actually accumulate this particular negativity. Like rainfall, like falling rain.
최봉에서도 나 최켈링게 매라나 최봉이면서 셔마도 최봉 멤버서 통되기도 와. 그래서 최봉에서 나 최켈링게 매라나 최봉하다고. 셔마도 최봉 멤버하고 통되기도 알아도 돈나 맞아버 와. 최봉에서도 다 간내내 용되기도 와.
So it's like, we might have the idea that those who say, I don't accept any spiritual path, and feel like that is some sort of forsaking of the Dharma. But actually we may not be aware that we ourselves, who are supposed to be Dharma practitioners, are continuously forsaking the Dharma. And so that we have to be extremely careful, and that this is a kind of a very, very common sort of karma that we can be accumulated. True. And so, and then in any way of saying, this is in terms of Dharma itself, saying this is better, this is worse, making distinctions like that in terms of Dharma. And so that this is the hearer vehicle, or this is the solitary realizer vehicle teaching, and that this is not as good as Mahayana, something like that. And that the fact of the matter is that in order to practice Mahayana, one needs the hearer vehicle, one needs the solitary realizer vehicle teachings, the paths, because to be able to establish the causes of entrance into the Mahayana vehicle, you need renunciation, you need the three higher trainings and so on that are so central to the hearer and solitary realizer paths. So then examples of that particular broad and subtle component of negativity, the forsaking of Dharma. And so here, in the process of what is purified for us with the descending nectar lights from the texts themselves, is that we have purified the negativity of using, for example, texts as objects themselves, just seeing them as things, or seeing them as some sort of merchandise, of eating from the sale of texts, of disrespecting texts, leaving them uncovered or on the ground. And that also there is like many different ways of mistreating the pure Dharma, and engaging in the negativity of forsaking such dharma by, for example, by virtue of having a liking for, say, the common vehicles of the hearer vehicle and the solitary realizer vehicles, then one forsakes the Mahayana vehicle, or by virtue of having a liking for the perfection vehicle, abandoning and forsaking the tantric vehicle. Or within Tantra itself, one might have a liking for an admiration for the lower tantric sets, and thereby forsaking the higher tantric sets. Or the opposite, having a liking or admiration for the higher tantric sets, such as, I only want to practice highest yoga tantra, and therefore forsaking the lower tantric sets. And so, in brief, we can say that the idea of rejecting the Dharma, and this can happen too when one says, that somebody who is a teacher of the Dharma is not qualified, even when they are, or they're rejecting them when there is no justification for rejecting them. And it says that if we reject a teacher of the Dharma, then we're also rejecting all the Dharma in that teacher's continuum. And so, in brief, any negativities that we have accumulated in relation to the Dharma, such as the very subtle one of forsaking the Dharma, are purified.
강게 잡을링데네 최대한 탐제 시제바 강게 도대 본제 디바데네 체케바 강게 강게 진이제 진이제 자종세바 주바면 강게 도대 본제바 디바데네 체케바 셰스메체스.
And from a quote from the King of Meditative Concentration Sutra, which says, compared to someone who destroys all the stupas in the world, someone who rejects the sutras is far worse. Compared to someone who kills as many arhats as grains of sand in the Ganges, someone who rejects the sutra is far worse. It's very, very profound what that says, and we have to be, therefore, saying we have to be incredibly careful. So even through our, a thought, even through a single word that is spoken, a great negativity can be accumulated. So that means we really have to really be very, very careful with actions of body, speech and mind, to look after what we do with our body, speech and mind, and that we have to follow an unmistaken path, and we have to really concentrate on what virtue can be accumulated in these ways. 되게 탐자 소소 하고 미디게 추봉을 내사게 참치부 사게 되게 되지 이거는 딜라소면 타입에서 이제 탐제게 추봉을 내사바 되게 봐 다수 삼자체 And so that it really behoves us to recall the kind of ways that we may or have definitely engaged in forsaking the Dharma in this life, and then also extrapolate onto past lives so many times, definitely, there's a connection between all the karma that we have accumulated through forsaking the Dharma over since beginning this time until now, and the prevalence of mental afflictions in our lives. If we had actually abided by the Dharma through all our previous lives and never for one moment forsook it, then we may not have any mental afflictions now. And that when we talk about all the sentient beings, we've mentioned some accounts of standout persons who have engaged in very heavy negativities related to forsaking the Dharma, such as Mao and so on. But we, in one sense, we have to find a way of really considering all the negativities of all sentient beings, and that we have to move away from this sense of the vague idea of all sentient beings, as if we had no real connection there, because we have nothing to hang our memory on, but to therefore bring to mind specific people like Mao and like others who have engaged in very heavy negative actions, and to imagine what that's like, imagine the damage that has done and the tremendous suffering and so on, and that how serious that is, so that we have something to really picture when it comes to when we go for refuge in the Dharma, the process of purifying and cleansing all of that negativity. And so we take into account all the negativities and all the obscurations that have been accumulated by myself and all sentient beings since beginning this time in relation to the Dharma itself, and in particular this negativity of forsaking the Dharma, that all those negativities are cleansed and purified. Our bodies transform into a nature of light, and that we then are endowed with all the conducive qualities such as long life, merit, and an increase and flourishing of the qualities of scriptural and realizational Dharma. And in particular, we feel we have received the blessing of the Dharma jewel, and that this enters into the body and mind of myself and all other sentient beings, and we have this sense of being admitted into the refuge of the Dharma jewel. And so that when we are engaged in practice like this in the session, of course, that when you are doing the accumulation of refuge recitations, one can go through that. I go for refuge to the Dharma, and I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Guru, and so on. Reasonably quickly. But when it comes to the visualization of the purification and so on, and one should really take one's time at that as much as possible, and that we really have to sort of really feel the significance of what you're actually attempting to do here. And that means that when it comes to purification of negativity, such as forsaking the Dharma, that you are, bringing to mind, the sort of hells and the beings in hells, because of that, in the hungry spirits, in the animal realms, etc. You're also, recalling those who are near to us, our relatives, our friends, who we know, and that really making the process of purification as real as possible for you. That's very, very important, that we shouldn't gloss over the visualization, and that it's not a question of the time that we spend in a session of refuge, but the question is, how meaningful are you making that time? And so it really has to be good time. We have to be really meaningful. We have to really sort of find a way to make it count in our inner mind, because without that there won't be any transformation of the mind.
Tene kindula japsu chas, kindula japsu, ta kindula japsu chas len kama chune. And di kaso mikwa nesa ta kasa de chir choshin tamche, kebar to ya, ane kasa jangsem da nyeran nam ta pawo kandro chujong sunga la subere, ta kindu nam la sa ta kuwa taba. Kuwa taba, kindu ki yen cheba. And kindu ki esa shedu tuba kotoba ta. soba dona kindu la tebe dikri ta je changshi dawa chungsu samsa je changshi dawa chungsu changshi dawa chungsu wada ka wada da lu tangsa da changshi dawa wada de rang da 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 ge ne shi ja da rang ge ne da kindu ku jol bebe diba kade sa do rang te ba ma da ma de ba ta ya ba jo da ge wang ma na ba te re wo te ne shi ja to ma me ba da ne sim je shen ge da kindu ku jol tebe diba sa ma de ge di chi kanga ba ja ku yo sam sa jo wo te ja da su sam wo te.
And so then the next object of refuge is the Sangha. I go for refuge to the Sangha, I go for refuge to the Sangha, I go for refuge to the Sangha. And again, we recite that, repeat that as many times as we can. And that the visualization here is that we visualize the merit field in general, but in particular, those who are representative of the Sangha in the merit field would be the Bodhisattvas, the hearers, the solitary realizers, the Dakas, Dakinis, and the Dharma protectors. And so here that we visualize, again, the descending nectar light meditation is visualization is appropriate for the purification part here to begin with. And here we're considering all of the negativities that we have accumulated in relation to the Sangha, such as insulting the Sangha, speaking ill of the Sangha, causing a schism within the Sangha, of taking offerings or interfering with the livelihood of the Sangha. And so, in brief, all negativities and obscurations that we have accumulated in relation to the Sangha are purified and cleansed. And here again, to slow that down, to really think about what I myself have done negatively in relation to any Sangha member. What are the things I remember in this life, but also to really take into account that for sure in all previous lives I have behaved improperly in relation to the Sangha. And also then others, thinking about the great negativities that others have done in relation to Sangha members. And that all those negativities are purified and cleansed.
파베 람이고 도 고된다 람데니라 다 최고조 세기로와 최고조서 녀모를 무슨 누군데다 아니 녀모 데베 빵베 빵바 고된 다들 최고조 세기요래 아니 긴데서 디큐레티브 가다 파베 가서 보다 디 인시샤처럼 인샤샤처럼 가서 디 대셔만 보죠 다디 가서 람을 미친 자리자 다디 남내가 되지 그래서 맞도 대셔만 보자 보고 남들라에 샤자마 마수고도와 어디래.
And so here, there isn't a great deal of explanation, but when we have already gone through the graduated path teachings, it's implied that we can, insert the detailed understanding of, for example, what it means when we say, going for refuge to the Dharma, going for refuge to the Sangha, and that like in terms of refuge itself, according what we know and so on from the Dharma, from the Lam Rim, so is that when we are looking in detail at the subject of refuge, we understand that the Buddha, as the Buddha jewel, is the representative of the one who demonstrates refuge, and that the Dharma is the actual refuge itself, and it's the actual refuge because it's only by practicing and in assimilating, realizing the Dharma that we can be truly protected from suffering, and that specifically means the generation of the true cessations and true paths in our own mind stream. And that in turn means a direct realization of emptiness, reaching the path of seeing, and the means by which we can directly eradicate suffering. So all that is in your mind when you are going for refuge to the Dharma. And then, of course, when we are going for refuge to the Sangha, then we are realizing that the Sangha, the actual Sangha in the context of Dharma, of refuge, are those Sangha who have attained that cessation, who are the Arya Sangha. They have attained the path of seeing, and so when we are going for refuge to the Sangha, that's in our mind as well. And so that we say, the actual Sangha jewel refers to Arya Sangha, but ordinary Sangha can be kind of representative of the Sangha, as it were. And in that sense, it says also that any grouping of 4 fully ordained Sangha members is representative of the Sangha jewel also. So we have to understand also that when we talk about Arya Sangha, we are not limited. That appellation is not limited to just nuns and monks, and that anybody who has attained the path of seeing is an Arya Sangha member. So they can be a lay person as well. So that means that we have to be very careful of any kind of criticism that we make to anybody, and any sort of fault finding and so on, and negativity, because they may be Arya Sangha. We don't know that, and it's a very, very serious negativity. And so that we may see somebody as very negative person, but that is we are confined to our karmic appearance there. That in fact they may well be an Arya being or even a Buddha. We can't say. And so, like for example, we as human beings see a certain liquid as water. A celestial being will see it as ambrosia, and a hungry spirit will see it as pus and blood. So we're all confined to our karmic appearance. So we can't say it's true. We can only say this is what I see based on my karma. So we have to be very careful because there's great danger in that context. And so therefore all those negativities and obscurations that we've accumulated in relation to the Sangha are purified, cleansed, along with their imprints. Our bodies transform into the nature of light. We are endowed with long life, merit, and an ever increasing and flourishing qualities of scriptural and realizational understanding. And in particular, we have being blessed by the Sangha jewel enters into the body and mind of myself and all sentient beings, and we are assured of being admitted into the refuge of the Sangha. And we'll leave it there for today. So then with the merit field that is visualized and it then all members of the merit field dissolve into the central figure of Guru Shakyamuni Buddha.
아니 상계 좀 된게 아니 지금 가서도 딱까지 저 슈트다 되게 차상데 아니 상계를 야지 아니 상계 아니 지금 대대수 랑게 집올라 아니 좀 뺨받는 님에 다외 되지 아니 대 쇼소 삽사체 대 제장 받을 자는 딱 지원 그런 고스톱을 답을 가서 줘 니베 가서 쇼 수베 가서 때도 쇼네 상계 고마 마도보다 제 소소 사서 왔다
And so then all the thrones and tables and so on that are part of the merit field also dissolve into the central throne in front of which the Buddha sits, and that dissolves. And also then the Buddha comes through to our own crown, on which we have placed a mandala seat, a moon disc, and then we make the supplication prayer, O glorious and precious Guru, come take your lotus and moon seat placed here on my crown, and that we visualize, we repeat that 3 times, and that with the third recitation feel that the Buddha is firmly established there and remains until we attain the state of enlightenment.
Then Ragin Ninga Kodolan, Pamata, because Pamata town, Nimata Davet, Samata, and then Junata, Tada de la Yanatu Mendeta Chavachu, and then water, and said the check or Yanatu Mendeta, and then Ma Gentan and Gentan, Ragin Ninga Kodol, Gentan.
And so then we established an 8-petaled upturned lotus and moon and sun disk mandala at our own heart center, and we may offer mandala and 7-limbed offering prayer to the Buddha on our crown, and then go through the process of inviting the Buddha with our supplication prayer, O glorious and precious Guru, come take your lotus and moon seat placed here at my heart, and bestow on me the attainment of body, speech and mind. And so again we make those prayers and invite the Buddha down through our central channel to our heart center. And to reflect that the Buddha will remain here at my crown until I attain at my heart center until I attain the state of enlightenment. I will be cared for by that Buddha.
Wonderful.
That's really wonderful. That's great. Today, my precious human life has become truly meaningful. And then the petals fold over the figure of the Buddha at our heart center, and that through the combination of the Buddha's body acting as the cooperative conditions, and our own body acting, our own more subtle wind acting as the main cause, our own body is transformed into the body of a Buddha, an enlightened body. And then through the combination of our own most subtle mind acting as the substantial cause, and the mind of the Buddha acting as the cooperative conditions, our own mind is transformed into the enlightened mind of a Buddha. And now my own body and mind has become indivisible from the mind and body of a Buddha. And so then we generate bliss and reflect on emptiness and abide in the combination of the non-dual bliss and emptiness. That this place in which I am has been purified of all faults and stains, and has transformed into a Buddha realm. And then we emanate as the Buddha, as from our own Buddha body, rays of light equal in number to all sentient beings, and that these rays of light enter into the crowns of all sentient beings, first of all purifying them of all obscurations and negativities since beginningless time, and then they transform automatically into Buddhas. And that also they're wherever they are, in hell realms, hungry spirit realms, animal realms, etc., that all the faults of those realms are completely purified, and that those places are transformed into Buddha realms. And that's really fantastic, wonderful today. This establishing of all sentient beings in the state of enlightenment, of Buddhahood, is actually achieved today. How wonderful that is, how wonderful. And to reflect that all sentient beings, the process of establishing them, and myself, the one agent establishing them, are completely empty of any inherent existence and are merely imputed by thought. And to reflect that this is the way I am visualizing and the way I'm imagining here, and that may it actually happen, may it actually be made manifest as quickly as possible, and really reflect on like this. And that's it.
So class when the double chuba pigu use jatung when the double chuba pigu use some such to the pair.
So that
some of the and the double come to the pair.
It would be very good if the way we are reflecting like this, the way we have visualized now with the Buddha at our heart center, that when we ever are eating and drinking, that we are actually not just consuming, but making an offering to the Buddha, and that'd be very, very good.
Sanjay Chua Pigu, some such, what that Jatung and Sanjay Chua Pigu, some such. What that the general, so Kalaside, Suram Sai Kuchado.
So that's really good that when we're eating, when we're having tea, that we are making offerings to the Buddha. And so that not only are we nourishing ourselves, but we are accumulating merit at the same time. Very good. So I'm hearing the food calling. So we better say our Lamrim prayer. From my two collections, vastest space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom eyes, blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means, by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings, with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. Going out with great compassion, in the direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined. May I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may an ocean of prosperity spread everywhere. La